rounds in a row.
No way. No way. Yeah.
This probably has literally never happened on our stream before.
I promise, we had no idea what these teams were before they came onto the stage for us. So this is really exciting. We are going to get a chance to see Ho-Oh again. And I guess we can spill the beans now on what else Miguel is going to be running here. But Miguel is bringing a team of Tapu Koko, Ho-Oh, Ferrothorn, Rayquaza, Incineroar, and Tapu Fini. And then on the other side, Alex Underhill is going to be bringing Rayquaza, Solgaleo, Incineroar, Persian, Snorlax, and Tapu Fini. My goodness, it's almost like we're seeing the same thing over again.
Yeah, so Pokemon we've seen recently, the little different combinations on both sides. Ferrothorn is not a Pokemon we see a whole lot of in the video game championships, but kind of a classic complement to Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh's worst matchup, of course, is Kyogre among the other restricted Pokemon, and Ferrothorn is pretty tough to deal with for it. So I like that combo, or at least I've seen a lot of that combo.
Right.
I'll be interested to see how he plays it, just because I mean, it's not unheard of, right? There's a reason we don't see a whole lot of it, but to have gotten to this point in the tournament, it has to have been working for him. So I'm curious, kind of what he has up his sleeve. On Alex's side, this is more of a sort of thing that it's textbook what I think is going to do well in this tournament. So maybe he's my favorite going into the match as far as. I'm expecting to come with the advantage, but maybe Miguel will pleasantly surprise me. I think Solgaleo, I'm surprised a little bit. We haven't seen it yet today. It's one of those Pokemon I feel like is up and coming. It has a good matchup against most of the Pokemon that have been succeeding. Fewer Groudon is very good for it. It's great against Xerneas, who we see a lot of. It's pretty good against Rayquaza, who we've seen a lot of. And then, again, I like that Persian. We compared him to Wolf earlier, but to me this feels a little bit more like Marcus's style, Wolf's pal. So I'll be curious to see how that plays out, and if we'll actually see the Snorlax this time.
Ooh, I cross my fingers for that Snorlax, because I think it would just be a really spicy choice here. But I'm looking at these team previews, and we're going to see some really good plays from both of these players.
Oh, I think so. The other thing that's kind of standing out to me, one thing about Miguel's team is, like I said, it's kind of like the prototypical what I expect to see with Ho-Oh. As much as I don't expect Ho-Oh, because like the normal partners largely, I'm sure there'll be some tricks we aren't expecting to see. I'm eager to see his Ho-Oh in particular, just because I think it's unlikely that he's using the same sort of strategy that we saw last round from Jens. So let's see probably two very different Ho-Oh builds in consecutive rounds. The 2019 Pokemon World Championships, everyone. You can't tune out for even a round.
You can't, because you might miss something in a blink of an eye there. Just some really crazy moves happening here on the VGC stage and some amazing plays. But we're about to get into it. Kicking things off here, pairs for both players. It's going to be Solgaleo and Rayquaza here coming out from Alex. And on the other side of the field for Miguel, it is going to be Incineroar and Tapu Fini. Already going to see a terrain change here with the Tapu Fini on the board. And of course, that Solgaleo is going to be a great choice to watch.
Yeah, we will see Intimidate coming in, but quickly we'll find out one of the advantages of using Solgaleo over Necrozma's version of Solgaleo with the Dustman form, as he is going to shake that Intimidate right off.
Yeah, that's going to be a boy sitting a little pretty there. So Solgaleo is very poised here in this matchup, but I'd be a little worried maybe about that Tapu Fini on the other side of the board if you're Alex, just in case it just puts one of your Pokemon in striking range here.
Yeah, he's going to have to play this carefully. Even though he's got the two legendary Pokemon on his side of the field, this really isn't a great matchup. Incineroar threatening a Fake Out either way, both it and Tapu Fini potentially capable of dishing out some pretty good damage. And unless either of these players have kind of had the opportunity to scout each other out a little bit, I wouldn't be surprised if they're a little bit conservative here, although nobody's switching.
Nobody's switching. It is going to be Rayquaza going for the Mega Evolution there. Will change the field just a little bit with that Delta Stream ability. And I have a feeling it's going to do some type of move here. Incineroar, though, moving first, will fake out the Solgaleo. So we will see some type of attack here from Rayquaza, but it's going to be Swords Dance. So getting prepped for the next turn.
Yeah, it's a dangerous move to give up for free. Nice play by Alex getting that off relatively low cost. We'll see. That Tapu Fini will do a bunch of damage, so free is the wrong word.
I think we spoke a little too soon there, but that
free.
is going to be, free quotation marks. About 2/3 of damage there from that Moonblast into the Rayquaza slot.
Yeah, I still kind of don't hate that if I'm the Rayquaza side. I get a little ahead of myself where it's like, well, it's not going to knock out anyway, but yeah, still I mean, you'd prefer to keep Rayquaza healthier than this, but he does get the attack boost. He's threatening a ton of damage from both of these Pokemon now. Now is the option where he could knock out either of the opposing Pokemon if he wanted to, which makes things a little bit trickier for Miguel. Obviously, ignoring Tapu Fini seems a little ill-advised at this point, so Alex is probably going to want to slow things down a little bit. But, you know, anytime you can get these Swords Dance out without completely losing your Pokemon, you probably don't feel too upset. Even a Fake Out or something like that isn't going to knock it out now, so he can play a little bit more aggressively, but likely both sides going to try to get a little bit better positioning.
Yeah, going to see that positioning coming out from Miguel's side first as Incineroar switches out in favor of Ho-Oh. Wow, we really are seeing some of the spicier choices in this lineup for both of these players here. Pressure coming out into the field, Tapu Fini protecting, so Miguel really going for a safe turn, trying to reposition themselves. Dragon Ascent is going to find its way into the Protect. That's unfortunate. Earthquake, though. Ooh.
Yeah, no damage going to be coming out from Alex's side of the field. Pretty nice little play there by Miguel. Not only does he take no damage, but this sets him up even better for next turn. If he wants to, he can now bring Incineroar into that Tapu Fini slot, get another Intimidate on the Rayquaza, even its attack out. Probably not threatening a knockout on Ho-Oh here, pending what moves these Pokemon have. So he's largely gotten through the biggest part of a threat, and now Alex needs to be very careful. He doesn't really want to cough up that Rayquaza too early. There's two Fire-type Pokemon on Miguel's side of the field, so Solgaleo probably going to have a hard time, even with that Earthquake, making a huge difference on the offensive side of this game. He can't carry on its own. It's going to need some other Pokemon to help it out here. So if Rayquaza is going to be that Pokemon, Alex can't afford to let it get knocked out this early.
Wow, gonna actually give up all of those stat changes there from the Swords Dance we saw earlier and gonna save Rayquaza for a little bit later date. Incineroar coming out and will pressure the field with the Intimidate onto both Pokemon on Miguel's side. That's gonna keep Alex's Solgaleo a little bit safe here. Brave Bird, though, going off first on the side of the field, will find its mark onto the Incineroar that switched in. So that was a great switch on Alex's part to be able to save that Rayquaza. And a Z-move now coming out.
He needs some big damage here because this has been a tough game so far. It's a relatively free attack for Tapu Fini. If he was able to pick up a knockout here, this would be a big lead.
Wow, it's actually Hydro Vortex on the Tapu Fini, and that Hydro Vortex is going to take Solgaleo underwater with it. Ooh, this is going to be a lot of damage onto that Pokemon.
Ooh,
a little bit over half. Wow.
Well, Solgaleo really showing off its bulk there. I was kind of expecting that to do more also. Not too close to even a critical hit wouldn't have been a knockout there. We thought it would like at least hurt Solgaleo a little bit more. I'll be curious how both of these Pokemon are trained. But still, I mean, I think on Miguel's side you're feeling all right. There's still not a ton of damage being threatened on Alex's side of the field. Trick Room's not advantageous for him by any means, but Solgaleo down a little bit under half health. Rayquaza even worse off than that. It's going to make it really tough for Alex to keep maneuvering. We kind of talked about he's like this slow-paced, methodical player. You need healthy Pokemon in order to play that way. He's kind of given up a lot without really gaining anything. And yeah, kind of surprised the second Waterium Z we've seen on Tapu Fini today already.
Yeah, I was not quite expecting that, and I really wasn't expecting Solgaleo to survive so healthily through that. U-turn, though, from Alex is going to help him set up for some later turns to start doing some damage there to Miguel's side of the field, because Miguel has yet to really take too much going on there. A little bit of Brave Bird recoil from a turn ago, but Incineroar is finally going to go back from the U-turn and Snorlax. We crossed our fingers. We got the Pokemon we wanted, but Ho-Oh still going for some damage, and Solgaleo, wow, will hang on there with 1 health.
Oh, that's big, too. I mean, I don't know how much damage this Z-move is going to do, but getting it off at all makes a huge swing for Alex here. Solgaleo is so sturdy.
So sturdy. I would love to know how that Pokemon is trained, but it will be able to get its Z-move off. Searing Sunrays Smash. Now it will take that Tapu Fini, a big threat on the board, into the Vortex. We'll see if it survives.
Oh, this is going to do a lot of damage. That Tapu Fini got off its Z-move, but Solgaleo able to fire back.
Yeah, get a little bit of revenge there, right? That's going to be quite a lot. Wow.
Yeah,
actually,
maybe not so much. Yeah, even
not too much.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, yeah, I mean, you kind of have to use the Z-move on Tapu Fini there because I think it would have done even less than Ho-Oh without the Protect. But what's interesting to me is kind of the math in that, where they're going to both learn something, which is that without the Protect, that's probably still not a one-hit KO.
No.
Which, I don't know. Probably not excited if I'm Alex about how that forecasts the rest of his series. But we do see a Snorlax coming in. Kind of mentioned before, the restricted Pokemon being weakened so much, they need some help. Snorlax is a great choice for that, sort of, but it still doesn't do well if it's being double targeted a lot, which is perhaps the way that this game is going. Also, with that Misty Train on the field, Alex is not going to be able to reset in his own, and I think Miguel should be careful about that, where it shouldn't be too hard for him to get a burn on the Snorlax, and that's going to remove any chance of Snorlax sweeping if that happens. So I think Alex, while Misty Train is up, is going to need to be careful here. Maybe try to force that Tapu Fini out so that Miguel will later have to bring it back in.
Yeah, trying to force that out maybe with the Incineroar, at least going to protect the Solgaleo with its 1 HP back into the Pokeball here. And Intimidate will fire off onto both Pokemon on Miguel's side of the field. And Belly Drum now coming out from Snorlax.
Well, if we could get this off safely, I guess maybe that's the way you win this one. Alex kind of on his last trick here, but Snorlax will be fully restored by this berry, and with a potential fake out coming from Incineroar, maybe Alex has got something going.
Yeah, we'll see. Moonblast is going to do some chip damage there into the Snorlax slot, but it will not quite get doubled into, looks like. Looks like that Brave Bird's going to go for the Incineroar that got switched in, so looking good.
Yeah, I mean, there are ways that this could work now, where, at least there's that chance. It's a fake out now from Incineroar. Kind of a nice bait by Alex where, especially when you haven't seen Belly Drum, it's hard to commit to that double target. You don't want to ignore the 1 HP Solgaleo. Miguel still sort of handling control of this game, but at least you can kind of imagine an out now. We'll have to see if the Snorlax knows Recycle. Typically, they are taught that move. It's certainly going to need to heal a few times in order to come through this game, so if it doesn't have that, it's hard to imagine it pulling this off just because, Trick Room at some point will expire. And 1 HP Solgaleo probably not going to get it off a second time.
Oh, but most likely not, especially with the other Pokemon on Miguel's side of the field. Training-wise, looks like Miguel is going to win some of those speed wars there. A lot of those moves going quickly. So I'm excited to see what Alex can do to outmaneuver some of that speed on that side of the field. They're bringing back the Solgaleo. Maybe it'll soak up something, or is going to read this Protect really well here from Miguel.
Yeah, he could get a free knockout if he picks the right slot. He does not.
Oh, that's going to be a little unfortunate there. The Moonblast, though, is going to fire back onto the Snorlax that whiffed that first attack. Now Snorlax is a little bit, actually right at half. I can do math.
Guess great time for a Recycle if it has it. But yeah, if I'm Alex, I'm not even sure if I showed at this point. He does get Solgaleo in for free, so you like that. But it's another turn of Trick Room down. Snorlax's health starting to get whittled, and it's hard to see what the out is for Alex here. I do like the lack of a fake out though. The one thing you have to, he's behind, but that's still a nice play. He doesn't just waste the fake out, faking out nothing. Now we'll be able to bring Incineroar back in for another Intimidate fake out later, or perhaps literally right now, should he choose.
Yeah, I think it's going to be right now. Incineroar doing the rotation again there. The little dance with Solgaleo, going to go back into the Solgaleo slot. Intimidate firing off again. And I think that Snorlax is still ready to go with some big moves here. Frustration into the Ho-Oh slot will knock it out, even with that critical. That's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, I'm sure the Snorlax just did about 3 Pokemon's worth of damage, but unfortunately can only KO 1 at a time.
Yeah, that's unfortunate there. But the Moonblast is going to not do enough to Incineroar there, but Trick Room does fade.
So I know I've been talking like Alex kind of has no shot at this one, but that was really good. That was
a great play.
It's a little free, but there's some really neat things about the way Alex's board is set up now. But Incineroar is exactly the one thing he probably doesn't want to see. So let's assume for a second his Incineroar is faster, just because I think if it's not, things are very bad. But, if he gets a fake out off of the Incineroar, we know Tapu Fini can't knock out Snorlax from here. So either that's another knockout at one of these Pokemon, or if he has Recycle, he can heal up and start to get going again. I think, you're starting to see the place where, maybe the Snorlax Snowball can build. There are still those restricted Pokemon in the back, and even though they've been greatly weakened, you can't knock out Snorlax and those Pokemon at the same time. So if you could get Snorlax healthy enough to be a threat, Miguel's going to start making some really tough choices. Unfortunately, Incineroar coming out here as a fake out of its own, so at the very least, just blowing a turn is way to Miguel's advantage now. But puts Alex in an interesting spot where maybe because of that, does he try to go for a greedy switch himself, knowing that his Incineroar probably isn't going to be able to do anything of value here anyway, because Snorlax probably won't get knocked out, but we see Miguel making a switch rather. Rayquaza can definitely knock Snorlax out from here, so if we do see a fake out going to that Snorlax slot, perhaps Miguel has found checkmate.
Well, this is going to be the 4th and final Pokemon there for Miguel. Fake out into the Snorlax slot means that it will not be able to use that Belly Drum effect. And we might have learned a little bit of information there. I'm going to cross my finger. I'm going to hold off just a little bit. But Miguel's Incineroar did move first.
Yeah, I definitely get going for that if you're on Alex's side. Unfortunately, it's either a speed tie he lost or he's slower, and he really needed that one.
Yeah. Well, Snorlax feels a little threatened by the Rayquaza that's on the board. We'll switch out there. Looks like Alex is just going to have to sacrifice a Pokemon here. Hopefully it's not going to be a double knockout on this side, but Miguel's ready to strike. Rayquaza, Mega Evolving, going to try to find some sort of knockout here.
Yeah, should knock out whatever Pokemon it targets easily with a whopping 30 hit points between them.
And either one. So we will see, that very classic Rayquaza move there. It is going to knock out that 1 HP Solgaleo. So good move on Alex. Just go ahead and sacrifice that Pokemon. See if they can get a little bit of a better board advantage here moving into later turns.
Yeah, I mean, he has to give up a Pokemon. I guess at least he'll be able to get another Intimidate Fake out here. So if he wants to, he could perhaps get another Belly Drum set up, though may have to sacrifice this Rayquaza to do it. He's doing all he can, but perhaps the writing's on the wall of this one, where Alex has battled back very valiantly, but man, he gave up so much in the first turns of this game.
First couple of turns definitely didn't go his way. I think he made some unfortunate reads. They were a little greedy. They were a little greedy there. But I think that both of these players have learned a lot of valuable information. But wow, Pinchberry, my goodness, that's going to be huge for Alex.
Yeah, and that is a big deal. I'm not sure why we saw you. I mean, I guess it makes sense a little bit, but I'm surprised that Miguel risked that, I guess. I mean, it's a pretty innocent-looking play where, if you just U-turn the Incineroar, you probably get that knockout. It's like, I get going for it, but suddenly we have a game again where we have a almost fully healthy Rayquaza on Alex's side of the field where, again, we're going to probably see some shenanigans here. We're like, will the Pokemon protect? Who's faster? But, his Incineroar now able to threaten this fake out. Again, has the option of just trying to play the mind games, not going for the fake out, which we've seen him do this game already. But all of a sudden, it's like Alex is a critical hit or a bad read from Miguel away from maybe pulling this one back after all.
I'm excited for those swing turns. That's really what gets me to live for the Pokemon battles. This one might be a big one here, but both players really taking their time because they know how critical of a decision this next turn's going to be.
Yeah, suddenly, it's like, especially for a game where probably it's kind of low tension for both of them because it seemed like they're kind of just going through the motions. Like, oh, this is very much a game again. You kind of have to stop, readjust. Maybe I'll take all my time this turn and just make sure I'm not missing anything.
Absolutely.
I see Miguel in particular been playing pretty quickly. I was like, all right, I'm going to reevaluate. He's a veteran player. It's a savvy move. You don't want to throw one away that you've been in control of the whole time.
Might have been a little game of chicken here, but Miguel is going to save the Rayquaza. Incineroar coming back onto the field to get another Intimidate off, and that might help a little bit against something coming out from Alex's side of the field, but leaves Miguel a little bit vulnerable. Incineroar on Alex's field, it was going to use that fake out into the Tapu Fini and a free Swords Dance. This is a game.
Yeah, this time actually free, where even though it's been intimidated, it's not going to take much damage here, even if, or actually literally no damage. And while it has to worry about a fake out now, it's kind of not that bad of a spot. If you want to, you could probably now just protect this Rayquaza, cycle Incineroar out. Unlikely that Snorlax will be KO'd. And when you get the situation that Alex has kind of been building to all game, where he needs the Rayquaza with Swords Dance and the threat of Belly Drum, Snorlax beside it, where it's like there's two things that can't be ignored, but you can't knock them out both at the same time. Miguel has two fantastic Pokemon out, perhaps the two best unrestricted Pokemon in the format, but neither of them are going to dish out much damage.
No, Tapu Fini's going to struggle in this matchup now of Rayquaza and Snorlax. Rayquaza is going for that protect, just, making sure it stays healthy there with that Swords Dance intact. The Moonblast, though, will hit the Snorlax slot, but not enough to knock it out. And I think we might even see a double into it from the Incineroar, and it holds on.
Yeah, that's a very good play by Miguel, though. If he had gotten baited by that Rayquaza protect, this could have looked very bad for him. On Alex's side, of course, you kind of think the opposite, right? Like, oh, man, if I just read that. But I think calling that would have been incredibly dangerous on Alex's side. And he may not need to. He's still in a pretty nice spot here where well, nice is an exaggeration. He's in a workable spot where there's still, you kind of have to target Snorlax because you don't want to risk it using Recycle. So he has the option of bringing Incineroar in, perhaps getting a freebie with Rayquaza. It's so tight, but, if Miguel coughs up his own Rayquaza too easily, there are definitely ways. There are ways.
There are ways. I'm excited to see those ways, and it looks like we're going to see one of those here.
No protects.
Wow, no protect on either side of the field, but it is going to be Miguel's Rayquaza moving first. Dragon Ascent into the Rayquaza slot on Alex's side means that it's not going to be able to use anything for this turn, and the position that we thought we were in with Alex to be able to come back from this one looks like it's a little bit more dire in this place because Moonblast definitely knocking out the Snorlax.
There are not ways. That's it. I'm shocked that Alex made this game as competitive as it was, where this game seemed like it was over in about turn 3.
Ooh.
And he wound up being, one good read away, where, Miguel had a huge advantage, right, where he's got a much healthier board, so it's easy to make those calls when you're risking less, but it wound up being just that close, where it's like Miguel kind of made the right call between the two Rayquaza 2 plays in a row, and that'll do it. But kind of a really fascinating first game there.
That is a fascinating first game, and we learned a lot of information, particularly about the mirrored Pokemon on each side. So I think that when we move into the next game, the next round, I guess, of this Swiss Round 5 between Alex and Miguel, I think we are going to see a couple of adjustments, maybe in those leads for both of these players, but definitely in some of the Pokemon that they're going to bring.
Yeah, I would be careful of the players not to get baited.
Yeah.
They have some very similarly trained Pokemon, and maybe some of the things they saw in that game were not information so much as a trick. So I think that even making exactly the same moves, that game could have played out very differently depending on who Lady Luck was shining on that game. But that's kind of just the danger of playing similar teams, right? We don't wind up seeing too much.
Yeah, there's nothing concrete.
Yeah, it's like anything could happen. I think that the big adjustment for me is that I think on Alex's side, he either needs to get Trick Room up faster, where he clearly has an advantage, or he needs to play a little bit more conservative the HP of those legendary Pokemon. Getting that berry activation on his Rayquaza was fantastic, and I was kind of, I was criticizing Miguel rather than complimenting Alex. I should roll that one back. That's perfect by Alex, right? He turns an unwinnable game into one that he, again, has a chance in by activating that berry with a weakened Rayquaza, which is challenging. So that was very good on Alex's part, but he's got to turn down the degree of difficulty a little bit, where, we all want to win games on stream by making 75 ridiculous plays in a row, but it's really, it's a lot easier if you can just make 15 okay ones.
Yes.
And yeah, he dug a hole there. The thing that also he has to be concerned about is the potential of that Ferrothorn, where, the Snorlax is not going to win against Ferrothorn. So if Miguel were to choose to bring it, he's going to have to conserve his Pokemon a little bit differently. Also makes it a little bit more difficult to get going with that Belly Drum. Is that going to win as exaggeration, I guess? I'm sure there are ways where, misses and Recycle Healing, should he have it. We didn't wind up seeing the final move on that Snorlax. Actually, we didn't wind up seeing 2 of the moves on that Snorlax.
We just saw Belly Drum and Frustration.
Yeah. Alex hopefully not experiencing too much frustration himself after that game. He really did come back nicely, but you just, against someone as good as Miguel, you can't give up that sort of deficit, and he knows that.
Yeah, I feel like the first couple of turns there for Alex, he just, again, got a little greedy with what he wanted to do and really let Miguel kind of run away from him from the train station here. But we are getting into game 2 now between Alex and Miguel. And we're seeing some pretty similar leads, at least from Miguel here with that Incineroar, and Ho-Oh now coming out in front instead of that Tapu Fini. But Alex firing back with exactly what he led game 1, Rayquaza and Solgaleo, 2 heavy hitters on the field.
Yeah, I think I would have done the same thing if I was Miguel. What I like about this matchup is you kind of assume, all right, well, Trick Room was the key to Alex getting back in the game last time, so I'm just going to leave the 2 Pokemon that are best against Solgaleo, and come on, try to Trick Room. Rayquaza helps a little bit with that, where, at least it can threaten some damage to these Pokemon, but Intimidate, not so good for it. This combination of his 2 Fire-type Pokemon just seemed like trouble for Alex, where he doesn't really have a lot of great ways to deal with them. His Tapu Fini, I guess is an option, but unless he's also running one of these crazy aggressive versions of the Pokemon, which I wouldn't expect on a team with Snorlax, it's tough to knock out these Pokemon quickly, where they both just provide so much pressure against his Solgaleo, which is kind of an integral Pokemon in this matchup for him.
Yeah, both players are thinking very critically about how the next turn is going to go. I think Miguel is definitely looking at Solgaleo as a big threat, knowing that it does run Trick Room. Is it worth going for an attack here? It doesn't look like it's going to be worth it for Alex to try to set up the Swords Dance on the Rayquaza, so we'll have to switch it out. Try to mirror some of that pressure on the field there on Miguel's side of the board with Incineroar and Intimidate. Will help to try to protect Solgaleo just a little bit from the damage that those Pokemon can do here. But maybe he doesn't even need to worry about it, because he will use Protect on Solgaleo, which means that the only one that's open is Incineroar to receive some of these attacks.
Yeah, I love how he plays this, where I'm a little surprised Miguel gave it to him, but now Incineroar gets in without taking very much damage.
That's
threatening
perfect.
that fake out. Solgaleo is definitely not going to enjoy being attacked by either of these Intimidate Pokemon because of the type advantage, but we've already seen how sturdy it is. So if Alex wants Trick Room, he can get it. One key thing to keep in mind in the context of that is that one way that Miguel could not stop Snorlax when it was in Trick Room the previous game was burning it with Sacred Fire, which, I mean, Belly Drum still hurts, but you don't want to get your health ticked down further after reducing it with Belly Drum. But this game, there's no Misty Terrain, and there's no Fake Out either.
Wow, super effective Sacred Fire there into the Solgaleo is going to burn it. So that means that Solgaleo doesn't have, its times are numbered here. Flare Blitz actually going to double into the Solgaleo slot. Wow, the burn probably going to be enough to finish it off, but will Solgaleo be able to get off a move before that happens? Incineroar U-turning into Miguel's slot is going to rotate with something in Alex's kit here. Is it going to be the Rayquaza again, or is it going to be that fourth and final Pokemon? Looks like it is going to be that fourth final Pokemon, Snorlax. I think this is going to be a very similar strategy here for Alex. Really wants to set up some of those heavy-hitting turns with Swords Dance, with Belly Drum. It will go ahead and get that Trick Room off, but that's it for Solgaleo.
Yeah, it winds up being the world's freest Belly Drum, where Solgaleo does its best impression of the old Z-move Mimikyu, where it attracts all the attacks, uses Trick Room, and faints. Unfortunately, it does not bring a Pokemon down with it. This is the freest Belly Drum in the world, where Incineroar will intimidate these Pokemon for a second time, be threatening Fake Out, although I think if I'm Alex, I probably don't use it and get the Belly Drum here, but I also gave up Solgaleo to do it again. I get it, where even though it's a little greedy maybe to give Solgaleo up, the key Pokemon in this matchup for Alex are Snorlax and Rayquaza, and Incineroar's ability to enable them. So perhaps worth it, but Snorlax definitely going to need to pick up these knockouts. I think I like this if I'm Alex, though. I think I'm down with the burn. I think I'd rather get burned and lose the Solgaleo, but get this set up the way I got it. Although I guess you could just switch Incineroar in anyway.
Yeah, I really hope this is going to pay off for Alex, but the turns really are going to be numbered here. Trick Room isn't going to last terribly long here on the field, so turns are numbered. Tapu Fini now coming out means that no burn potential. So are we going to see a switch out or protect from Ho-Oh as well?
Yeah, it's been intimidated twice, so going for the protect,
yeah.
But not having a whole lot of presence on the board.
No, not too much here, but is Alex going to read this right? Does actually, I think, use Incineroar into the Ho-Oh slot, but this is going to be a Belly Drum, and it's free.
So I guess what this tells me is Miguel's last Pokemon, not a shocker, I guess, but it must be Rayquaza, right? Because I'm sure he doesn't want to bring Tapu Fini. He'd rather not have the Misty Terrain on the field. So the only reason he would have done this is if all the other Pokemon were more valuable than Tapu Fini is. And I think that only makes sense if it's Rayquaza. So Alex now can either pick up a knockout here, or if he has Recycle, go for it, or another, I guess whatever his fourth move is. But he's set up very well, but he's really going to use these Trick Room turns where, he can't get it up again because, Solgaleo was knocked out. So, you've got to set yourself up to be able to handle this. I think an ideal situation for Alex is you find a way to get Rayquaza in, Swords Dance while Trick Room is up, and then if you have the two Pokemon next to each other, you pretty much, you're in the clear. He's much closer this time, or he didn't have to give up all that health on Rayquaza to get the Belly Drum. So I'm excited. I feel like this is what Alex has been working toward. He's just like a step away now.
I would love to see it happen. Miguel, though, going to reposition himself a little bit, bringing Incineroar back out, trying to mitigate some of the effects of the Belly Drum there. But I don't, Intimidate will fire off. What's going to happen next? I'm kind of at the edge of my seat right now. Frustration will come out here from Snorlax into the Incineroar slot. Will do enough to knock it out, and that must feel so good if you're Alex, knowing that you don't have to worry about Intimidate or Fake Out again for the rest of this one game. Flare Blitz as well now into the Tapu Fini. Doesn't do too much there, but I'm pretty sure we expected that.
Ooh, we do see the Z move.
Ooh.
This is it's interesting where it's like you don't really want to take the damage of Snorlax, but also, Incineroar being weak to water type attacks, it's pretty good either way for Miguel.
I think so. Hydro Vortex will do a lot to either Pokemon that it draws into the water. It is going to be that Snorlax, though, one of those big threats there on Alex's board. Wow. That is going to be a really decent chunk, bringing him basically back down to where he was before he used that Pinch Berry.
Yeah, I got to say, I love how Miguel's playing with set in general, but man, those are some uninspiring Z moves where, I guess this kind of, to me, feels like one of those teams, well, I got to put some Z moves somewhere, so whatever, this is good enough. It's better than nothing. Yeah, the damage matters where you want to keep the pressure on that Snorlax so it can't just keep attacking for free, but, there's still time left in this Trick Room. Incineroar, again, relatively free to switch, although you don't want to give anything easy if you're Alex this time either. You'd really like to probably use those other moves if you, I guess I don't know here. Do you even need it anymore? Do you trust that the combination of Incineroar and Rayquaza can finish this game if you knock out Tapu Fini? We saw the two Rayquaza fight in the first game and didn't go well for Alex, so you probably want to save Snorlax at least to pull an attack away by still being on the board when Rayquaza comes out. But they're even in Pokemon, but Alex definitely has the advantage for at least a little while longer.
Well, especially because we don't know how those Rayquaza are trained, right? That's not enough information to really say one way or another. So Alex is probably going to play this one a little carefully. Wants to preserve Snorlax just in case. It's that what-if factor, but we'll get off another attack here first. Frustration to the Ho-Oh is going to one-hit knock it out there, so Miguel down to the final two. It is going to be Tapu Fini taking a little bit more chip damage there from the Flare Blitz, but not too much.
Yeah, not too much, and we're going to get a free Moonblast from the Tapu Fini. Going to keep whittling Snorlax's health down. Kind of an interesting spot where I assume now Snorlax is still healthy enough where it wouldn't be knocked out from an extreme speed from Rayquaza. So it does have the option now to threatening another Frustration, or it could use the free turn to do something else. You'd think that Rayquaza would use Protect here. Still at this Trick Room. Gives Alex some options as well. I mean, certainly big disadvantage to fall down to two Pokemon first. We'll have to see. Alex kind of needs like one more big play to finish this one off. Getting rid of Ho-Oh basically for free is nice, but Tapu Fini very threatening when one of your remaining Pokemon is Rayquaza. And Incineroar too, I guess, where Tapu Fini would love that 2v2.
Oh, yeah. Tapu Fini just looking for that. So that sounds like it's really going to be Miguel's win condition is knocking out that Snorlax and really removing it from the equation. But Alex wants to preserve it just in case. So this next move going to be really important for both of these players. Incineroar going to get preserved here from Alex's side of the board. And now it's time to see if Rayquaza can live through potential damage here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting where I think if I'm Alex, I try to just knock out the Tapu Fini and trust that the combination of Incineroar and one of these Pokemon is enough to win that 2v1. But I guess if Tapu Fini were to have Protect and use it, that would be terrible. So there's still one more read Alex has to hit.
One more. Just one more. Rayquaza is going to use Protect here as well after Mega Evolving on Miguel's side of the field. So where did Snorlax go? Snorlax recycled! Okay.
Instead of being environmentally friendly here, Snorlax is going to restore all of its health.
I like it.
Now he's completely eliminated the idea of needing to make a read.
Yeah. Well, Tapu Fini is going to use Moonblast. Oh, Moonblast into Rayquaza. That's going to be a big Moonblast. Not going to completely knock it out here, but that is the end of Trick Room.
Yeah, so we end up in a slightly different spot than we were expecting to be in, but still very much to Alex's advantage. Almost certainly going to attack this Rayquaza. However, if it's not necessarily guaranteed, we haven't seen the item that Miguel's Rayquaza is holding. We have seen Focus Sash Rayquaza today. If it is holding a Focus Sash, there are still ways this can go wrong for Alex. If there's no Focus Sash, then you'd think Alex probably has this one. Snorlax, unless there's a critical hit or something, probably not going to go down this turn. And if it does, it means Rayquaza was allowed to attack for free. Still a tight spot, and yeah, Rayquaza switching out, getting that Intimidate for Incineroar, kind of further forcing the need for a critical hit for something to go wrong for Alex playing the odds.
Yep, Intimidate, finding its mark again. I like how it's just kind of been a rotation of Incineroar. But Rayquaza now firing back on all cylinders. Dragon Ascent. It will find its mark onto the Snorlax. Is it going to be enough? No, not quite. About half now for Alex's Snorlax. And Tapu Fini Hydro Pump is actually going to double into the slot. Not enough.
That got way closer than I thought it was going to.
Wow. Will have enough HP, though, to get off another frustration, and Rayquaza does have that focus dash.
So this got very interesting, where, yeah, it's, Rayquaza only has 1 HP, but Alex actually has to kind of make a read here where, on Miguel's side, you probably don't want to just risk giving Rayquaza up for free to a fake out, which opens up the idea for Alex of either, I guess probably going for a fake out frustration on Tapu Fini where, Rayquaza can't knock out 2 Pokemon at once. But if you make that read in, Rayquaza doesn't protect, you lose. So there is a mind game here, and I think the winner of this mind game will take this game. If Miguel can make the right read here, he's going to take the set and move on to 5-0, where Alex can figure this one out, pull it off. Wow. He will move this intense set into a 3rd game.
I want to say I smell a game 3. But I really don't know what's going to happen here because fake out's not going to happen. Alex is going for a very risky read, bringing Rayquaza back onto the field here. And it all comes down to what Miguel has decided to do. Has protected the Rayquaza, so maybe it's not quite over yet for Alex. But Tapu Fini is going to use Moonblast. Where is this going to go? It's going to go into the Snorlax slot, and that is going to be enough to knock out the Snorlax.
So he gives up Snorlax in order to do, but in doing so, he gets the threat of a fake out again. So Rayquaza likely in trouble here. But this is such an interesting spot. He's still, it's still somewhat precarious, pending whether or not Rayquaza can get a 1-hit KO here. Because if it can't, I think Miguel still has this one. I guess Hydro Pump could miss. There's still
some variance. There's some RNG here.
There's things, but. Interesting play. Yeah, so Alex doesn't take the fake out recycle, instead takes a 3rd option. This is definitely, there's lines of play that make this work out too, but man, this game is so tight. Like,
oh, I really am like clutching my armrests right now. Wow, it is going to be a Mega Evolve to kick things off here for Alex. Gonna match the aggression on Miguel's side of the field, but it's gonna be another Protect. It's gonna come off. Miguel getting really lucky here with that 2nd Protect in a row. Fake out, though, does go into the Rayquaza slot, so Rayquaza on Miguel's side will live to see another day, but Dragon Ascent is going to go off. It is going to go off. Is this enough, though? Tapu Fini takes that one, and it's not. It is going to be a knockout there for Alex's side of the field. Still looking a little hairy, though, for both sides.
Yeah, that'll do it though. Where that was, you wonder with the double protect there, is like that enough? And as much as you kind of hate to see double protects, I mean, it's his best play. You should go for it.
Yes.
But yeah, Rayquaza likely only knows single target attack. So Alex, the double up here is going to take game 2. Incredibly close.
I can't believe how close it's been for both of these players, coming down to the wire for their last 2 apiece. Miguel taking that first game, and Alex going to be allowed to take this second one there with the final blow onto the Rayquaza. And now it's on to game 3. I told you I smelled a game 3.
Yeah, it was, we almost didn't get there.
We almost didn't get there.
I mean, that was just a lovely game.
Wow.
I think Alex adjusted really well, where he didn't give up anything he didn't need to that game. Wasn't able to use the barrier on his Rayquaza this time, but didn't need it, where he played a little bit safer. He kept control of the board largely the whole time. And I think both sides know what they're going to have to do going into this last game, where Snorlax, absolutely the crucial Pokemon on Alex's side. But also, I think it's also worth keeping in mind that even if they were both to bring the same 4 Pokemon again, it's only about a 45% chance that things play out the same way in turn 2, where the Sacred Fire Burn, I still think kind of helped Alex more than Miguel. I mean, at some point he could have used it as a sacrifice, I guess, which would have been nice too. But really interesting game. Another thing to keep in mind too, I mean, with this being such a kind of like slow-paced, grindy, methodical game where one mistake could really have hurt either side, both the players have been playing pretty slowly. I think only about 13 minutes left on the clock. So because of that, there is a real chance that this game goes to extra turns and is decided by which trainer is ahead. Because of that, there's some really interesting elements of these teams. If we were to reach a tiebreaker situation, Snorlax is infamously very good in them if it's still alive, and infamously very bad if it's been knocked out. Max HP is a factor in that situation if you have the same amount of Pokemon remaining, and Snorlax has many hit points. Also, many Pokemon in this team capable, or both teams rather, capable of taking quick knockouts where, both of you guys have kind of been plotting for the end game, but they made up at a point where it's like, you know, they have to kind of like navigate through some strange conditions where, well, I guess 2-1 is really what you're looking for, not necessarily 1-0. So it'll be interesting to see if we do get to that point, and with all this time in team preview getting more and more likely, how these guys navigate through a situation that competitors don't have to deal with very often.
I really wonder how the timer is going to affect their play style, because when you go into team preview, do you take that into account, knowing that there's only 12 potential minutes left on the clock here for this game? Or do you say, you know what? I know my win conditions. I know how to make my team strategy work. I have to stick with that.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that both these guys, I guess a very similar game. We do see Miguel going back to the lead Pokemon we've seen so many times over the course of this tournament with Tapu Fini and Incineroar.
Oh, yeah.
And Alex for the third game, leading the 2 restricted Pokemon.
Well, that's going to be an interesting choice, because the last time we saw these 2 leads on the board, Miguel took that game. So this is going to be a very strong lead here from Miguel. I really don't think that if you're Alex, you want to be facing down that Tapu Fini right now.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting where both sides kind of have some options for like the real risky play and then kind of the smart, more conservative play. You know, obviously the fake out threat from Incineroar is there. Using Swords Dance for Alex didn't work out so well last time, but that's an option. I think it's very likely that Incineroar switches in, so if you're feeling cheeky with Miguel, you could try to maybe fire off a hopeful Z move and try to pick it off immediately. I think one of the big reasons why Alex came ahead last game is he got that Incineroar knockout first, so he was the one who got to rotate through those Intimidates instead of Miguel. And maybe Miguel's side, you're looking to avoid that. Hopefully not for his sake, because that will not work. Rayquaza is staying in.
Oh, Rayquaza is going to stay in and will go ahead and Mega Evolve, and this is going to be a really interesting position here for Alex. I just want to see exactly what these players have decided to do for this first turn, because not only turn 0, but turn 1 is so important here. Solgaleo is on the receiving end of the fake out, and Swords Dance again getting a chance to go off on Alex's side of the field. But it's going to depend on an answer there from Tapu Fini, and it is a Moonblast, and it does end up going into the Rayquaza slot. This is going to hurt.
Yeah, it's just enough there where that would be a 2-hit knockout. Rayquaza also losing some highly relevant special attack, but we'll have to see. So the Swords Dance plan didn't work out so well last time, but you know, it's a little bit different situation. Alex has a lot more information now than he did then. I think if he chooses to stay in with Rayquaza, he really is going to need to double and pick up a knockout. And I'm not sure which Pokemon he can do. Like, I'm not sure what he could double up on that would be worth the trade, because other than, like, I guess he could double up on Tapu Fini and, like, maybe remove the threat of a knockout the other way, although I guess he's trading a lot of damage to do so. But I think we've learned of the series that Tapu Fini, Miguel views as his least important Pokemon in this matchup, and he does take a Protect here, that I think is definitely the right move.
Yeah, Miguel's playing this one really smart, just in case that Dragon Ascent is going to go into Tapu Fini, but it's not.
Ooh, he reads it.
He does. He reads this one like a book, and Alex decides to put that Dragon Ascent right into the Incineroar slot, getting a 1-hit knockout. And that is going to be a great way to start off that damage roll.
Well, that changes things a lot. The last game we saw some switching around on Miguel's side of the field, but Alex going all in with the offense. The Z move will hit into Tapu Fini's Protect. So like we saw last time, probably about to see Tapu Fini take about a 1/4 of its health, but you know, that could matter. You know, perhaps that's
really
enough to put it in KO range for Rayquaza, allowing Solgaleo to mess with whatever the other Pokemon is. I would expect we will see Ho-Oh coming in to try to slow that down shortly, but Alex, instead of using Snorlax this time, just the restricted Pokemon, getting him the early lead.
I've seen a lot of aggressive play. I feel like that's kind of been the key, the theme of the Ultra series. So it really is no surprise that Alex is going a little bit aggressive with this one. That is going to be about 1/4 health to that Tapu Fini through the Protect there. And this was a great way for Alex to start off this game 3.
Yeah, pretty well played there, where he's really changed the tables in this one. And now it's like, Miguel's side, like, this is become very inconvenient, where there isn't an easy solution to this game. Rayquaza maybe is one. We mentioned before that the players may have learned some things in game 1 that they would be better off having not learned. You would assume by seeing Rayquaza here that Miguel will try to attack. Well, I guess he doesn't have to attack in the Rayquaza slot, right? I mean, Tapu Fini still posing something of a threat, although, you know, Tapu Fini doesn't want to take a Dragon Ascent either, so something of a tricky turn. Alex has the option of playing a little more defensively, bringing his Incineroar in, trying not to take any risks. If he does go that route again, I think on Miguel's side, you probably have to start looking for a way to fish for that Water Z move onto an Incineroar switch. But again, we just see the players leaving their Pokemon in. They've decided they've switched around enough. Time's running out. It's time to fight it out.
It is. It's about to get nitty and gritty here on the battlefield, but not for Alex's Rayquaza. Will protect. It's earned its rest here. It has earned its rest, and it's a great read because it is going to eat up one attack from Miguel's side of the field, and Solgaleo getting to do a little bit more work here.
Yeah, this will be a decent attack on either of these Pokemon.
Oh, into the Rayquaza slot, going to be a little bit more than half there, but now we're seeing a fire back from Miguel's side of the field with a Z move, and that Hydro Vortex coming back out here. It's gonna be able to do damage to either Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming this will do a decent chunk to Solgaleo, or no, to Rayquaza.
It's gonna be Rayquaza. Through the Protect, it will go down into the Vortex. Oh, wow, that was like nothing.
Yeah, I mean, resisted attack and Protect, but I mean, I'm perhaps just trying to get it, safely into extreme speed range. I gotta say, I don't think that that's a good trade if you are Miguel here at this point, where if you were to go for the extreme speed, you're gonna have to lose Rayquaza for it. And I don't know if you close this one out in that 3v2. I mean, Solgaleo is gonna match up really poorly with the Ho that is probably in the back. So, I mean, you get that, but I mean, if the last Pokemon is Snorlax, I mean, that is a lot of room to run around for Alex.
And it's actually gonna be Alex's Rayquaza moving first here. It's gonna hit the Tapu Fini, and wow, that was enough. That Z move from Solgaleo was enough to put it into striking range. So Miguel will lose that Tapu Fini, and we learned something.
Yeah, uh-oh. Uh-oh, this Rayquaza wasn't faster at all.
No, it was not. Seems like it was a speed tie here for Alex's and Miguel's Rayquaza. Now, though, the RNG going into Alex's favor for this one, but Miguel does get a chance to fire back and knock out Alex's Rayquaza in the process.
Miguel seeming a little surprised there, but yeah.
A little surprised. I think Miguel was pretty confident about that one going in his favor, but Solgaleo now getting to dish out extra bits of damage, and we're really seeing this big cat do some work in this game.
That is a crucial knockout, and Alex now has an insurmountable lead.
Wow.
The speed tie, huge troll there. I was trying to be a little coy about it just because I don't want to give it away if the players never learn the same thing. But yeah, oops, yeah. So the two Rayquaza have the same speed. So we saw on game one, Miguel's Rayquaza critically went first, picked up a knockout. This time it's the other way around, and oh man, it's an interesting adjustment by Miguel.
Miguel does not have Ho-Oh in the back. It's the Ferrothorn, and that's not going to fare very well against what Alex has left on his side of the field.
Yeah, Incineroar is a hungry cat, and that will be an easy finish for Alex as we see a conventional end to a fantastic 3-game set by two really excellent players.
What a series, though. We had such a back and forth there. Miguel taking that first game, and Alex capable of getting the reverse sweep. I mean, I think that speed tie really took both